Hey everybody, it's me, DeoGenZ, here with another edition of Pokemon of the Week. Well, I hope the start of your summer is going swell. Keep checking Steam, those sales are stupendous! But today we're going to actually look towards a different season, the snowy season, winter, with our first set, the Walling Winds of Cryogonal. Now what's really cool about this poke, pun intended, is that in NU, it holds the valuable niche of being a rapid spinner. And not only being a poke that can do rapid spin to remove entry hazards from the field, but one that has levitate, so it won't be affected coming onto the field by spikes or toxic spikes. However, it's unfortunate that it's an ice spinner since it is going to be weak to stealth rocks. That's the one big unfortunate thing about this spinning poke. But thanks to its other useful move, which is Recover, it can quickly come back from a little entry hazard damage. Now, the way that you have to work with this poke is to its advantages, and that's why for Walling Winds Set 1, I decided to make it fairly balanced in what it can do. Now, in NU, what you have to worry about if you're looking to rapid spin things off the field is spin blockers, so ghost Pokemon are most synonymous for doing this because they do not get affected by normal type damage, which rapid spin is a normal move. So what something feasible would be is somebody could predict that you're going to rapid spin away, say they're stealth rocks, you don't care, you're going to take the brunt of the damage, and they switch out to their Spiritomb. Now you retreat because, or not retreat, because you think you have enough power to take it on with Ice Beam, but either way you go, if that thing is banded and it uses Pursuit, whether you're retreating or not, Cryogonal is going to take a huge chunk of damage. Because look at that defense, a pitiful 30 base defense. That's where another thing of this poke kinda is a pain in the side that you have to deal with, but when you have Recover and when you set up the effort values to almost max out defense, then you can work around this. I also gave this poke a lot of hit points. This way, when it comes out onto the field, it can recover a lot of damage that has been done because it's got the gauge to do it. An Ice Beam, of course, is necessary as a stab move for this one stab poke because it's not multi-type, and it would probably have benefited from a multi-type if it was a dual type, maybe, I don't know, Ice and Grass, or I really couldn't think of a type that would lessen the weaknesses that it has, but because of those weaknesses, Rock, Steel, Fighting, Fire, all things that are highly offensive, you have to be careful when you pull this poke into play. Regardless of you maxing out or close to maxing out the effort values and physical defense, it still is starting off at a bad base stat. So if you see them coming, try to retreat, do what you can, and recover what damage you've obtained. Now, the cool thing about its special defense is that it does not suffer the same fate as physical. And for that, you want to send this poke out when a special sweeper is on the field. Of course, not a special fire sweeper because it doesn't matter how good Cryogonal's special defense is. If you run into a Typhlosion that uses Eruption, which Eruption is physical if I do recall, so that doesn't even apply, that would eradicate it immediately. But even a Flamethrower, I don't think Cryogonal would be able to hang on. But it would be an interesting damage calculation experiment to do, especially if you maxed out the hit points. So try to switch in on a Psychic Pokemon that's going to use Psychic, something that it can easily absorb the damage of, recover, and then retaliate with an Ice Beam. Now, if you want to use this poke in a Hail team, you can hold on to Blizzard in the position that Ice Beam is in, because in a Hail situation, Blizzard has a 100% hitting accuracy ratio, so it's all good there. If blanketing the field with Haze isn't your style because you don't want to eliminate the stat changes that have been made to every poke on the field, then some other options for you would be Toxic, a good thing to do if you want to switch in on a special wall. This way you could stall it out with your maxed out special defense. Well, not maxed out in the effort values, but that it's the most beneficial stat on the set of base stats of Cryogonal. You can have Toxic to whittle it down, and then recover off any damage and Ice Beam the rest of it until the trainer either takes it back or does some kind of healing move for it. And if you want a more offensive poke, which we'll actually get into that in the next set more for an offensive set, you can have Hidden Power Ground, and here's the IVs that you would need to pull that off. And the benefit of that being a special move and special attack on this poke being higher than physical is that you will be able to take out most of its weaknesses, given if you're faster. And with a base of 105 speed, it makes you wonder, could Cryogonal be effectively used as a pseudo sweeper with the stats that it now possesses? As we can see from the Acid Snow set, yes, it in fact can be effectively used to sweep. And this is courtesy of Creamerlad, so check out his channel in the description below. What you use Cryogonal for in this case is not so much a defensive barrier to rapid spin away any sort of entry hazard. Now, yes, the moves really didn't change all that much, so again, same sort of things apply. You could use Toxic. He decided to use Toxic in this case instead of Haze. Hidden Power Ground also would be more effective, but the same thing applies with rapid spinning away Stealth Rocks. It's going to be super effectively hitting Cryogonal, taking a large chunk of damage, so recover is necessary. But with this setup, it's more apt to do damage, where we spent a lot, most of our effort value points on the first set on hit points. This set more focuses on the attack, and I think that's a triumphant victory to use with Cryogonal. There's really a cool thing about this poke, very similar to how snowflakes work in the real world. This snowflake can morph and change into many shapes, into many effort value arrangements to make it effective, either offensively or defensively. I could even suppose a set that has less in the way of special defense, since special defense is already so super effectively charged just base stats wise, and allocate more of the effort values to speed. This way you have a better chance of outspeeding those fire, rock, and steel types. This way it actually would make sense to put Hidden Power Ground on this poke in place of, say, Toxic, because you want to have that rapid spinning niche to get rid of entry hazards. Ice Beam is the one stab move it can do. Recover, come on, how many Pokemon can recover? You need to take advantage of that. And then Hidden Power Ground would be far more effective if this Acid Snow, as opposed to Acid Rain, which could poison you, thus the Toxic in the set, if it could outspeed those pokes. If you could outspeed a Steelix, hit it with Hidden Power Ground and knock it out, maybe 2-hit KO or 1-hit KO it, hopefully you could hold on, although with no investment in defense it wouldn't look very swell for you. If you could 1-hit KO it, or if you're confident that a Hidden Power Ground would knock something out, then maybe change more effort values to speed. But this is where Cryogonal is really cool, and not just its temperature. I mean that it's awesome. You can change around the effort values many different ways to see this poke play in many different arenas of NU. You can hold different positions on your team depending on what your team lacks. So for our final set, I just want to prove to you that yes, this poke is fully effective as an all-out attacker or as an all-out defender. In this case, where Badassxscrafy has provided us with this set, it will set up a defensive Reflect to mitigate some of its lacking defense in base stats. He also maximized defense and maximized special defense, and that's awesome. Although I know what a lot of you are already clacking out on your keyboards currently, that this is a taunt fodder set, and unfortunately it's true. Substitute, Toxic, Acid Armor, and Reflect are not offensive moves. You've got nothing to protect this poke from being taunt destroyed. You'll have to switch it back, and if it's a poke that can use taunt, it's probably a good chance it can use Pursuit too, so it will completely obliterate Cryogonal quickly if you only use this. Now throw in an Ice Beam in there in place of, say, Toxic, or maybe even Acid Armor, since you're going to be sitting behind a substitute. What I would really suggest with this set is not to try and completely update its physical defense. Use its natural advantages to, when you can, for special sweepers. Send it out during a special attacking onslaught. This way it can absorb those hits with no problem, set up a sub, maybe hit it with Toxic, get the Reflect up for your team, and holding Light Clay, which is a key item to have on this set in particular if you want to go all-out defense, will extend the Reflect for your entire team, boost your entire team's defense behind that reflective barrier instead of 5 turns up to 8. So that is excellent. And that's a cool strategy to use with this Cryogonal. Another unfortunate thing I don't see with this set in particular is no recover. I would almost completely nix the acid armor and toxic, switch it up with ice beam and recover. This way you could substitute in on a special sweeper or just a special attacking special wall at some point. Recover after you've set up your sub, and then go to reflect and ice beam safely behind the substitute while it lasts, until your opponent decides to switch out to something more super effectively frightening for Cryogonal. Those are my suggestions, and that's been Pokemon of the Week. If you want to have a chance to have your suggested set on this show, get a shout out in the description section below, and just be a part of the whole Planet Poke community in general, then send me a PM on my channel, youtube.com/DeoGenZ. It's very cool. We just got the Google Plus connection, so now I'm finally changed on that channel. Not Spong Mario anymore from my friend naming the channel long ago. I'm DeoGenZ LPs, so it makes sense. Head over there to DeoGenZ LPs to see my LPs. I've got a new one going on, Jurassic Park Trespasser. I've got the Effort Value Expertise Guide, which is always helpful if you are a metagame monster looking to nom more data. And if you want more data about your favorite topic of all, Pokemon, then subscribe here to Planet Poke. Hit that big button. You know you want to. It will update you on all the Poke goodness that you can get, from openings to walkthroughs to videos like this that are fully informational to help you with your battling. It's all here on Planet Poke, and it's all for you for free. So hit subscribe, and I will see you next week.